Hey, what's up guys, my name is Charlie. Today we're going to be watching some more angry video game nerd related content, and it's going to be Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo. Oh boy, this is going to be pretty cool. I do apologize if I look like I've gone through hell, and I look like a serial killer. I do apologize. Unfortunately, I have just finished 17 Nostalgia Critic episode reaction videos today. I have just spent the last 12 hours reacting to videos. I've just went through 17 of them. That's nearly like 100 GB of data and like 7 hours worth collectively. But I think I've spent like 12 hours altogether. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's knock one more off the list because the Sega Genesis versus Super Nintendo has been highly recommended for me to watch and to get to. So I might as well do this one as well along the way, and then I'm going to slip into a sweet little coma when I get some sleep. But yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted, but we're gonna play this video, so let's go. Oh boy.
Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis. There's no better pair of things that the word versus has ever come between. It's truly a nostalgic battle. We were talking about it 20 years ago.
It's like
we're
PlayStation
still
versus
talking about it
Xbox.
today. So ever since I started doing the nerd series, I always felt like it would make a great subject for a video.
It
But
would.
I've always held back because I felt the whole thing is so much bigger than I am. How could I do it justice? To really do a proper analysis of both systems would take months and months of concentrating on just that. So the only thing I can give is an opinion. So I figured I might as well take the approach of just taking you back to the past, because that's what I do best. And there's no better way to go back to the past than to hear it from my past self at age 11.
Oh boy, 11.
That's right. I already made a
James
video
and
about
Ruffle
this
presents.
topic. I might as well just sit back. Nintendo versus Genesis.
What
And the
Genesis
commercials
does.
say that Genesis is better than Nintendo.
Where am I?
Or Nintendo
But you
does.
see, this is Nintendo 8-bit.
I can't see a damn
God, that
thing.
camera.
I'll turn it off. if you
That's
don't
better.
mind.
Focused.
Thank you.
All right, now, so Genesis always brags about how good it is.
God, he
As you can tell, I'm
He
talking about the
looks
Genesis
like him as a kid.
commercials.
Obviously,
I'm
it's
sure
him, but
everybody's seen them by now.
can see the
but
nerd
if you
in him.
haven't, here's a refresher.
you can see the anger. What Nintendo can't. Yeah, Genesis does. That's badass. That's pretty cool. What an insult.
Nintendo?
What
Can't
Nintendo
do
don't.
this on Nintendo, they said. Genesis does what Nintendo does.
I say Nintendo's
See,
more
even as a
superior.
kid, I couldn't bring myself to say Nintendo. But in
Nintendo.
hindsight,
That's
it
so
was a
cheesy.
great commercial. Just the fact that we're talking about it now means it really left an impression. It worked. I'm sure that commercial alone sold many Genesises. Genocide.
Yeah.
Mega Drives.
Thank God he's
Back
pronouncing
then,
words
that
incorrectly.
commercial
I'm
was
not
the
the only
bane of
one.
my existence.
Thank God,
How
James.
dare
Thank you so
talk
much.
about Nintendo like that? They took a cheap shot. I took it personal, as if one of my best friends just got bullied. So there I am, pissed off, making a video about it. I guess nothing's changed.
Yeah.
So, little Jimmy, tell us why the Nintendo brand is better than Sega.
It has more games, like, wait a minute. Wait right there.
Okay?
Well, some pocket video games. Wait. Actually, this is from Tiger.
Oh
But
God,
they
are
got
those
the
those
ideas
Tiger
off of
games?
Nintendo Simon Quest, and they got Double
Wait.
Dragon.
If we're talking about great classic games made by Nintendo, how about Super Mario Brothers 3 or something like that? But no, the Tiger handheld version of Simon's Quest?
That's
Still have it.
okay. I mean, Simon
Nintendo has
Quest is a
posters, like,
acceptable game for the Tiger.
Here's a Nintendo poster.
Oh my God,
Take
Metroid
that,
Prime.
Sega. Nintendo's got posters.
And Nintendo has guidebooks.
You mean strategy guide
Here, see a Nintendo guidebooks?
Nintendo
or
Power.
Nintendo Power.
Yep, Nintendo Power.
These were made from, these are Nintendo characters.
He's so cute as a kid. I'm sorry,
These
but he
are
is.
from cables to the
He's cute.
controllers.
I still have
He's
those.
so innocent, ain't he?
And they
so
are
angry.
awesome.
The power gun.
The power
Allows you
gun.
to
I think it
shoot
was like the
at
zap gun,
characters on the
I believe.
Nintendo screen.
I remember
That's
that.
the zapper, but
Yeah,
they
the
should have
zapper.
called it the power gun, like
Yeah.
the power glove and the power pad.
Well, the power gun.
Yeah, you got it.
Giant controller.
Why didn't they call
Okay,
everything the power?
You got that? Reasons why Nintendo
The
is
power
better than
sword,
Sega.
the power glove.
Tiger handheld Simon's Quest, posters,
Posters,
guidebooks,
guidebooks,
characters,
characters,
controller
controller
stickers,
sticks.
power gun, and power pad. Boom! In your face, Sega!
Damn.
Obviously, I was showing a lot of faith to the Nintendo brand.
Hmm.
I was what you might call a fanboy.
Oh
But
boy,
in
we've
truth,
all
I
been
was
there. We've
envious
all been a
over the
fanboy.
16-bit glory of the Genesis. The graphics they showed in that commercial, you couldn't do that on Nintendo.
Wrong. You can do that on Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, he's
They
going there.
invented a Super Nintendo with 16-bit graphics.
16
Now that's
bit.
what we're talking about. The Super Nintendo felt like Nintendo's answer to Sega. But did the battle stop there?
Nope.
Nope. It only started.
And in the commercials, they keep bragging about Genesis. They said that Genesis is even better than the Super Nintendo, but they're
Bullshit.
both 16-bit.
Sega had a point before, but now it's like a bully who's gonna pick on an even bigger kid.
The Sega Genesis has blast processing. Super Nintendo doesn't. So what's blast processing do?
Yeah, what did blast processing do?
It was ingenious. Blast processing.
What is
Every
it?
kid who saw that commercial remembered that term.
Yeah,
Sega
blast
fanboys
processing.
now had some new ammunition to use. So Sega's marketing team was like feeding all these arguments in the school cafeteria with like all these new words to use. I remember being on the school bus trying to tell one of my friends Super Nintendo's better, and he kept saying blast processing.
What's that even
It
mean?
worked. The term
But it was pretty cool.
caught on
Yeah.
like wildfire.
Caught
It
on, but
worked
we didn't know
so
what it meant.
well that even to this day, we're still talking about it. The internet is a new playground to continue all these old arguments. It picked up just like before with everyone debating whether or not blast processing is real or not. I've seen it on message boards. It's real, it's not real, it's real, it's not real. What's the story? Well, I looked into it. According to the technical specs,
Okay.
the Genesis is faster.
Ah,
I can't find
that's
many
what
great
blast
side-by-side
processing is.
comparisons to really
7.6
demonstrate it.
megahertz,
The Sonic the
I believe.
Hedgehog games seem to be the classic example.
Hmm.
The term blast processing was made up for the commercial
Ah.
because that sounds way cooler
Yeah,
than pointing
it's-
out the facts.
yeah, it's
Imagine if
cooler.
the commercial said, the Sega Genesis has a 7.6 megahertz processor.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Super Nintendo, only 3.6.
It's not cool.
That's not as catchy.
Mm.
Commercials aren't about stating the facts. They're about just
Overhyping
what are
shit.
people gonna remember.
Yeah.
Say blast processing, and every kid is gonna start using it, even if they don't know what it
What
means.
it means. Hmm.
Like I used to say bits all the time, and I never
Bits.
knew what that meant.
Mhm.
And it's hilarious that if you look at the rest of the
8
specs,
bits.
the Super Nintendo outshines the Genesis in almost every other detail. But
Damn.
they found that one thing to exploit, and that's the
Mm.
nature of marketing.
But
One time I had
Nintendo
a
still
playful
came out.
argument about chocolate milk. And this
Chocolate
is two
milk.
grown adults, I might add. I was working at a convenience store, and every day I drink this milk mixed with a chocolate mix,
Ah.
and my friend would always drink the regular chocolate milk out of the bottle. I told him mine was better, so we compared nutrition facts,
Oh,
and
God.
it turns out mine had less sugar, more vitamins, and was better in just about every way, but his had a little more vitamin D in it.
Mm.
So every day then he would come into work sipping his chocolate milk and go, love that vitamin D. Yeah, we got bored at work a lot.
Yeah, that's gotta
Also,
be
notice the game they chose to make fun
boring
of
job to
was
talk
Super
about
Mario
chocolate
Kart.
milk.
And, what if you don't have blast processing?
Have you played Super Mario Kart? That's a great fun
Yeah,
game.
that's a
so
great
they're comparing
game.
it to Sonic just to show how much faster the Genesis is. But what are we comparing here? Vertical speed versus straight-on racing?
True, every
It
game's
doesn't
different.
scroll as fast because it's a totally different kind of game.
Yeah.
I'm looking into it way too deep, but the point is it's another marketing strategy. Make your product look as cool as possible
and
make
sell
the
it and hope-
competitor look like crap.
Yeah.
It's easy. I'm going to make my
Hope
own
people
Genesis
buy it.
commercial right now.
Oh boy, here we go.
Hey kid, you still playing that Super Nintendo? Look at what Sega Genesis has got.
Whoa. Look at that badass. Whoa.
Super Nintendo has got this.
Nintendo was better than that.
So what's the choice?
Sega.
That was fun. You see, you can
That
make
was
anything
awesome.
look as good or as crappy as you want. And I think as a kid, I saw that in the commercials, and I felt that these commercials were brainwashing other kids, and that's what pissed me off. I felt like it was just manipulating other kids to think whatever they wanted them to think. The whole blast processing thing was almost like an act of desperation from Sega, just trying to get through the point that the Genesis was better and using any tactics they could. Almost like me as a kid trying to defend the NES because of stickers on the controllers. So I was just trying to speak up how I felt and didn't really know
That's
how to.
okay.
Remember,
That's
when
right.
you play Nintendo, you're playing with power. When you play Game Boy, you're playing with portable power. When you play Super NES, you're
NES.
playing with ultra power and Genesis.
Ultra
no
power.
Well, there you go. Now
Damn.
you got yourself a slogan. Needs a little work, but you're thinking,
Yeah, I mean, it's...
or I'm still thinking.
Yeah, you're talking to yourself
Yeah,
as a
I've
kid.
come a long way in being able to articulate myself, and I've never thought about it till now, but I think those Sega commercials played a part in teaching me how to edit, how to make videos, because
Wow.
when I'm doing a nerd video, for example, and I'm trying to tell you how bad the game is, I'm going to be selecting all the parts that are bad to show you, and if it's awesome, I'm going to show you all the parts that are good. So unless you see the original product for yourself, you can't really take an objective view, because that's the way the media is. It's always through someone's opinion. So who am I to make a judgment of Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis? Have I really played enough of both consoles to really make a fair
You can
assessment?
never really make a...
But hey, it's an
expert
opinion,
decision.
and I got to
Yeah, it's
give you what you
opinion.
want. You click on a video that says Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, you're expecting a throwdown. So let the throwdown begin.
Okay. Let's see what's superior. I say Super Nintendo, I'm sorry, but Super Nintendo is totally awesome. It's not about the hertz or bits or speeds or anything, it's just
Let's
the
start
games.
with the most obvious, the look of the console. The Genesis,
But Genesis
has a
had
more
Sonic,
modern
so that's
shape.
totally
It
awesome
looks
as well.
Cool. The Super Nintendo looks like a blocky kid's toy
Yeah.
with purple switches.
I like that
And
though.
for some reason, lots of Super NES consoles turn yellow over time.
Oh yeah,
I
I've
don't
heard
know
about
why.
that. I
Maybe
think there's
everyone
sunlight.
pisses on 'em. I don't piss on mine, and it's one of the best aged
It's about
Super
sunlight or
Nintendos I've ever
something.
seen. The Genesis looks more slick, not counting all the different models and all that crap that gets
Oh
attached to it.
god,
It's just the original.
that stuff. Life support.
Winner, Genesis.
Genesis, man. Yeah, it's sleek. It's controllers. I say the
Genesis
Super Nintendo
controller is
controllers.
straightforward and simple. 4 buttons if you count start.
I don't like it. It's too
Super
chunky
Nintendo,
for me.
8 buttons if you
That's
count
better.
start
I
and
love the
select.
Super Nintendo
That makes
controller.
it way easier to play fighting
Absolutely
games like Mortal
superior,
Kombat.
the controller.
On Genesis, there's not enough buttons.
Yeah.
You have to use start
Unless
to
you're playing
block,
Batman.
and both high punch and low punch are on the A button. With games like Street Fighter that require 6 buttons, you have to hit start to select between punches and kicks,
Damn.
or get another controller. But we're comparing the basic controllers that
Yeah.
came with the console. The Super Nintendo has all the buttons you need in all the right places.
Yeah.
I can easily press L or R, and my thumbs are still free.
Look at that
In a
dent.
Mario
Damn.
type
Look at the
game,
dents and
I can
scratches.
hold down Y to run and push
And
the
the
rest of my
controller.
thumb onto B to jump. It helps that the buttons are all on an angle. On Genesis, they're all in a straight line. I
Yeah, it
have
makes
to
it
hop my
difficult.
thumb back and
Yeah.
forth. The Super Nintendo feels more comfortable. That rounded dog bone shape fits in your hands
It's
perfectly.
weird, but
I
it's...
guess one plus about the Genesis is that you can plug in an Atari controller.
Oh yeah, I
That's
remember
pretty
this.
cool,
Yeah, that's
right?
pretty cool.
Winner, Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Nintendo is best for the controllers. Far superior. It's just so comfortable. Game boxes. Oh boy.
This may seem like a minor thing, but isn't it nice to have something to put your game in? The Super Nintendo games had the standard cardboard boxes,
Oh,
but
God,
the Genesis
I
boxes
hated those.
weren't boxes at all. They were plastic cases that
I
snap
hated
open.
both of them.
That's a good idea. In
Yeah, it's
retrospect,
smart, but
it's
I-
great for collecting too.
I hate
It's
the
much
boxes.
easier to find a Genesis game complete in the box. With the Super Nintendo, the boxes just got in the way, so most people threw them out.
Yeah,
The
I just kept the
Genesis cases
cartridges.
were progressive, and it's now what every game console uses. Winner, Genesis.
Sega Genesis, of course. But yeah, I normally don't keep the boxes, I just keep the cartridges. Backwards compatibility,
Being
okay.
able to play your old games on your new console is a great feature to have. The Super Nintendo had the Super Game Boy, which
Oh
allowed
yeah,
you to play your
Game Boy games. See, I
The
remember
Genesis
that,
had
damn.
no such adapter for the Game Gear, although it did have the power-based converter, which was for playing Sega Master System
Wow.
games.
I never knew
This
that.
was an official contraption from Sega, but Super
Oh.
Nintendo had an unlicensed version of the same thing called the Super 8, which
Super
played
8?
NES and Super Famicom games.
Damn.
That makes things pretty even, but thanks to the Super Game Boy, the winner is Super Nintendo.
Yeah, good for them. Backwards compatibility is also great. The Xbox One sucks at compatibility playing the Xbox
Graphics
original
is a
games.
hard one. I've already mentioned the Super Nintendo is technically superior with a greater color palette and all that, and it makes sense to me that a newer console would be more advanced. But look at them. They both look pretty good.
Yeah,
to me.
it's hard
It really
to...
depends on which games you're comparing.
Yeah, which game, yeah.
Alright, Jimmy,
like-
so help us out with the graphics.
Trying
The
to do
Super
Mario
Nintendo
Kart
just
with
came out,
Supersonic.
So
It's
what do you think?
hard to choose from.
Perfect. Look at these graphics. And rotation, like in here, and like in F-Zero, you curve around the racing turns, and you could just, it feels like you're really moving. And it has smooth animation, like
Smooth
like
animation.
someone waving their hand in imagination. It moves it just a notch, just a notch.
Just a
Takes
notch.
16 notches to move the hand down, and another 16 notches to move it up. So that means it's smooth
Yeah, okay.
animation.
Okay.
Scaling.
I'm
That
talking
kid,
about scaling.
Jesus. This,
Like, for instance,
well,
a
the
car
nerd is...
racing away.
He's really into the
shrinks.
details, ain't he?
Super Nintendo has great things that just
It's
shrinks
like a
as
shit.
it falls, and it has great resolution. Oh, I should say
Resolution?
It's a very impressive 500.
God, that kid's a nerd. Well, James is a nerd, that's James.
That's twice the resolution.
very smart as a kid.
16-bit video games. Color layering, big characters, and
I never
multicolored
talked like this as a
scrolling
kid. I was
backgrounds.
sticking
Whoa,
pencils
whoa,
up my nose at this
I think
age.
my younger self just went way over my head.
Yeah.
So
God.
how does it all stack up today? Well, I think both systems are very comparable, but the Super Nintendo impresses me still just a little bit more.
I say the 16-bit Super Nintendo is a bit better than Genesis. Ha! Get it? A bit better?
Oh, God. No. That is
One
actually
thing
pretty
that helped
funny,
push
but...
it over the line was the FX chip used in games like Doom and Star Fox, which helped to render three-dimensional shapes. This was a new achievement later in the Super Nintendo's lifespan, which made it exciting that our 16-bit console could improve itself. The Genesis, on the other hand, was on life support. using
Yeah, life
hardware
support,
add-ons
God.
Like the Sega CD
There have
and
so
the
many
32X,
connections,
just to
add-ons.
accomplish the same thing the Super Nintendo already could.
Pointless. It was like $400 at the end of it
Still
all.
don't have a Sega CD? What are you waiting
No one
for,
had one.
Nintendo to make one?
There is no Nintendo CD.
I never
Roasted.
understood the purpose. You have to own a Genesis to play a Sega CD or a 32X. Winner, Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah, the add-ons were terrible, so the Super Nintendo wins all the way. Sound. Oh boy, those bit
When it
sounds.
comes
Which
to
one is it
sound,
going to be?
there's no question about it. The sound effects on the Super Nintendo were far superior.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, the Genesis is horrible. No Super Nintendo. Johnny Cage. Ooh. Ooh, no. Yeah, the Genesis isn't doing really good on the audio. Oh, that's a bit dodgy.
And the music on the Super Nintendo just got me so pumped up.
God, that's fucking good music. Is this Star Fox? I'm not sure. If it is like Star Fox or something.
It is fair to say that they're both two different things, that each console both had their own distinct style.
But that music for the Genesis on the Sonic is great. A lot of people confuse this music with Zelda, believe it or not. Sega Genesis, Michael Jackson, Castlevania. Sonic! God, you can't beat Sonic. Reminds me of Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360 music. Double Dragon. Battletoads. Double Dragon. Oh boy, it's kick-ass.
I will say, as much as I love the orchestral cinematic sound of the Super Nintendo, I also love the gritty heavy metal sound of the Genesis too.
Yeah, it's good. It's hard to choose. Really good music on all of them.
Games like Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm
sound better on
Jim.
the Genesis.
God, I love that game. Earthworm Jim. Oh boy, Super Nintendo.
So there are exceptions, but most of the
Donkey
time,
Kong
the Super
Country, of
Nintendo
course.
rocks the competition.
That was on Nintendo 64, I believe, wasn't it? And Nintendo Entertainment System, but it was also
It's
for
the first
Nintendo
console I
64
ever
or something
heard
like
where
that.
it
Donkey Kong.
crossed the line of video game music and just started to sound like real music.
Oh, Rare. Rare, the company is amazing. Game
The
developers.
Super Nintendo has some of
Productions.
the greatest video game themes ever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Super
Winner,
Metroid.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it's pretty close because both of them are pretty awesome games. It's a hard
Both
pick.
consoles had a great library of games. Genesis had Altered Beast, Moonwalker, the Shinobi games, Strider, Toe Jam and Earl,
Sonic
and
is
the
pretty
best
cool.
version of Ghostbusters that existed back then. Super Nintendo had Pilot
Unless
Wings,
it's for the Xbox
Mega Man
360
X
Ghostbusters.
games, and the best version of SimCity around. A lot of the same games that crossed over to both consoles came out almost the same and are hard to compare. Aladdin is an example where both versions are completely different from each other.
don't think
In
I've
this
played the
case,
Aladdin game
Genesis
before.
version is way
I think
better.
I've played it on like the
All the Konami games are different, such as
wristwatch
Ninja
game,
Turtles.
the
Genesis got the
Tiger
Hyperstone
game.
Heist, and Super
Type
Nintendo
of electronic
got
game I
Turtles
think
in
I've played
Time.
Aladdin on.
These games are similar, but you can't beat Turtles in Time. Genesis got Contra Hard Corps, while Super Nintendo got
Contra.
Contra 3.
Contra is the
Again,
best.
both are similar,
kick
but on the
ass.
Genesis version, you could choose to play as different
I love the
characters,
360 sort of
including a
degree
wolf,
shooting
and
angles
it
you
didn't
can
have
do.
that annoying overhead stage like in the Super Nintendo version. What were they thinking? Genesis got Castlevania Bloodlines, while Super Nintendo got Castlevania 4. Both are great, but Castlevania 4 blows my mind with its smooth control and creepy graphics. One of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Oh,
Both
boy.
versions have awesome graphics that resemble the animated TV series that it's based on. But the
Yeah,
Genesis
a lot of
version
artwork
just
went
nails
into
this
it.
time. It has the cutscenes that the Super Nintendo version's missing, and the stage graphics have a lot of three-dimensional
I've noticed
depth.
the Genesis does a lot of
There seems
intros.
to be a myth that Genesis is more of an adult console. That may be true that Nintendo seems to target younger audiences, but it's not all rainbows and flowers. All the hubbub comes from the first Mortal Kombat game. The Super Nintendo took out the blood and altered some of the fatalities. The Genesis version also didn't have the blood until you turn it on with a secret code.
Get over
Starting
here.
with Mortal Kombat 2, Super Nintendo brought the blood back full on, so now it's a moot point. Super Nintendo had blood in Doom Troopers and in Doom, so there's no way you can say it's just a kiddie console. Even Nintendo's own branded game Super Metroid was dark in tone and overall badass.
It's really fascinating.
Both had their share of fighting games, but Killer Instinct, come on! It wasn't the same as the arcade, but it's still the best exclusive 16-bit fighter by far. The beat-em-up genre. Genesis had the Golden Axe games.
God,
Valiant
Golden
Storm,
Axe,
and
what an
Streets of
incredible
Rage.
game.
Everyone
Golden Axe
always
has to
talks
be
about Streets
one of my
Rage,
favorite
but Super Nintendo had
games
the
for
Final
Genesis.
Fight games. The first
that's
one
also
didn't
a
have
good game as well.
two-player option like the arcade, but they
But Golden
rectified
Axe
that
is
with the
awesome.
sequels.
I can't.
I don't know
I love
what it
collecting
is,
those
but
blue
beat-em-up
potions.
games always feel more fun on the Super Nintendo. On the
Maybe it's more
Genesis, they're a little
fluent,
bit
so to
clunky.
speak. Yeah, I think the Super
On
Nintendo was a
Nintendo,
little
the
bit
action's
more fluent.
smooth and it just feels right when you hit people.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Genesis had more sports games. I'll give you that
Oh,
any
God,
day.
yeah.
You can keep your sports
Yeah,
games.
I don't
so if
want
that's
sports
your
games.
thing, your console is Genesis. The RPG department. Super Nintendo just kills it. Final Fantasy 3, which is actually 6, is one of the best
That's not
games
confusing.
ever made.
Chrono
You can't compete with
chronologically
that.
confused.
And that's not to say Genesis didn't have its share of RPGs. There was the Phantasy Star games, of course, but Super Nintendo also had Chrono Trigger, another masterpiece. That's a 1-2 punch. And also there's Super Mario RPG. May seem gimmicky to make an RPG just to include Nintendo
God, I
characters,
remember
but
this.
it's a really fun game and much better than
I
what
forgot
most
all
people
about
may
this.
expect. Both
This was
consoles
amazing.
had their share of bad games. Super Nintendo had
The Wizard of Oz, oh god.
Genesis had
Action 52, no.
and both consoles were
Oh,
unfortunate
Shaq
enough
Fu.
to have Shaq Fu. Then of course there's Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario World, which
that's
is
good.
better. It's all a matter of preference. I will say Sonic 2 was the game that made me buy a Genesis. But even with all the Sonic games, I still could never live without Super Mario World. It may not have the fast speed action, but it has lots of power-ups, fun challenge, and an incredible world to explore. After all, it is Super Mario World.
Of course.
I love Sonic, but I feel with a good Mario game, there's just a little bit more to it. If there's one platformer that can top Super Mario World, it's the Donkey Kong Country games. They're so addicting that just trying to record
Donkey Kong
the footage
game,
here, I had trouble turning it off. I wanted to keep playing. Between the Super Nintendo and Genesis, it all depends on what kind of games are your favorite. Possibly my favorite game of all time
Legend of
is
Zelda: Link to the Past, of
The
course.
puzzle solving, the storyline,
Yes.
and the action that goes on in that game
Totally
is so
awesome game.
phenomenal, I'm at loss for words.
Yeah.
It never gets
Kick-ass
old.
game.
I can still play it any day.
Mm.
I think this game just nukes the
Just
entire
ho- it
competition.
just holds
if you ask
up.
me why do you like Super Nintendo better, my answer is Link to the Past.
Of course, the Zelda
And if
games.
that's not enough, Super Metroid.
Super
I
Metroid,
recommend
of course.
it hardcore. This is a must-play game.
I never really
It's a
enjoyed
giant maze that you
Metroid
can't
the
stop
games.
playing until it's finished.
I like
It has a
the
foreboding
GameCube version.
atmosphere that keeps you tense the whole time. Running around, blowing stuff up has never been so
The
much
GameCube,
fun.
Nintendo GameCube is the
Take your
Metroid
pick,
one was pretty
but the
cool.
winner for me
Metroid
is
Prime,
Super
whatever it was.
Nintendo.
Okay, Super Nintendo wins on that one.
There you have it. Nintendo wins.
Nintendo wins,
It will
of
take
course.
centuries to invent something that'll top that.
Give it a few years, Jimmy.
Nintendo Switch.
So I just wanted to bring you back to a simpler time when there wasn't a care in the world other than defending your favorite console. There's always problems going on in the world and political issues and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
we get tired of
back
that.
then, all we cared about was what's better, Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And one thing I do know, the world wouldn't be complete without both of them.
Yeah.
Long live the 16 bits.
The 16 bits war, God bless it. Okay, that's the end of the video. That was actually very fascinating, and that was totally awesome to watch. I actually learned quite a lot from that. Yeah, I totally agree. It's really a debate. You may think the Sega's more superior. You may think the Super Nintendo's more superior. It depends on the preferences and ideas and games you play. But I always thought the Super Nintendo was a little bit more better than the Sega Genesis. I didn't really care about the graphics, like 16 bits. It didn't really matter to me. It was the games that mattered to me, either playing Sonic or playing the Mario games, or the Link games and stuff like that, Zelda games and stuff like that. So it always depends on the game you play, it always depends. It's like Halo on the Xbox original or a PlayStation game, only specific to that. The PlayStation. Yeah. I mean, there's a debate if the Xbox One. I'm sure there's like a debate if the Xbox. I feel it's like, what is it called? Xbox One? Yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? It's a terrible name. Like an Xbox One versus the PS4, which is more superior, and I think it's quite lovely to have a debate about which console's superior. Everyone compares the audio, the graphics, the games, and it's nice to not talk about politics. It's nice to not talk about the world's problems, people killing each other. It's just nice to sit down and talk about our favorite video games and consoles, and just have a debate about about it. There's always Xbox fanboys and there's always PlayStation fanboys, and they always defend each other's opinions and, you know, have a battle. And I always enjoy it. It's always fun to watch. I sit back and laugh at both of them because I think they're both great consoles. And I don't think we're ever going to have a superior console. Unless it's, you know, just Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. But anyway, yes, that was very fascinating, very interesting to watch. I'm glad I actually got around to watching this. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Like I said, I do apologize if I absolutely look like a wreck right now. I look absolutely dreadful. I do apologize, but like I said, I've just finished 17 Nostalgia Critic episodes. I've just went through the entire Season 2 Nostalgia Critic playlist, and there was a lot of content. I went through all of them, like 17 videos, all in a day. And it was exhausting. It was like 12 hours work of reaction. Yeah, it was like what was it? I think I just want to note on this video, I'm dragging it on, I do apologize. I want to note that I've done all the Angry Video Game Nerd episodes and the Angry Video Game Nerd related content, so make sure to check that out. And I've done all the Board Games episodes and all the You Know What's Bullshit episodes. I've done all sort of stuff that other people haven't reacted to on YouTube, and I would highly recommend checking out my playlist section on my channel. Just check out my playlist for my channel. I've got tons of playlists. Well, not really a lot, but a lot of them are Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic, and stuff you actually might be able to find that other people haven't reacted to on you know, YouTube. So just keep an eye out, because I might be reacting to content other people are not reacting to on YouTube. I just want to fill out all those little black holes, but this video's dragging on now. We're going to end the video here, of course. So if you like this video, make sure to give a like, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I work very hard to bring quality videos. Well, I try to be a professional. I didn't say I was a professional. I try to be a professional. I'm trying very hard every single day, working hard to improve and better myself with my videos, and I hope you've been seeing the improvements along the way. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it may be. Peace.